challenge within the media space. Media needs resources. Over 90% of the media houses in this country are privately owned, therefore they're into business. Unfortunately, within the discourse that we're having today, we've seen previously matters of perhaps national importance, say corruption, governance, different stakeholders and organizations mobilize resources, capacity build journalists around those areas so that they can prioritize then issues to do with governance. And that's the reason as to why perhaps within the news segments, a good portion of our news is around governance, politics, around the same. Unfortunately, how much of that airtime is allocated for a conversation like the one we're having today? So I think that much needs to be done by the stakeholders who are here today. Those who are within matters to do with proper waste disposal management. There is room for engaging and collaborating with the media, and that is one of the areas that you can come in handy, collaborations and partnerships with the media to realize or create a national discourse around this conversation. Media, adding to what my sister and colleagues said, has a role, and one of the roles is engaging in national discourse, leveraging on social media platforms as you noted. Like currently what we're doing, we're live streaming this conversation, so that we can have more people speaking to this subject that you're talking about. Unless we have the media speak about these, then you find and you realize this conversation is not in our homes. It is nowhere. Every other time you realize whatever happened, if it is within the politics, the spheres of politics, even young children would tell us what happened yesterday. But what of the environment? So we need to have more of this news, but of course, subject to the input from the various stakeholders. The other role that the media can, of course, come in strongly is through monitoring compliance. They cannot do that without resources. These media houses are privately owned, as you stated. The capacity has to be there for media to monitor the compliance, be it of the county government or the various stakeholders. Some of the institutions who are pollutants are very big institutions, and therefore sometimes they tend to threaten journalists in line of duty. So resources must be available for journalists to enter into these areas, and of course featuring into feature stories. We've done a number of stories, and one of the stories that we worked on in this county was the disposal of medical waste in the dump sites. We visited the homestead in Langas Estate 3 years ago. The lady used to rear pigs. Unfortunately, much of, largely what she was also using was partly medical waste from some of our hospitals that were not disposing their waste properly. And of course that has health threats to those who are consuming those pigs. And of course, there was a lot of interventions from both the national government, in terms of the security agents, and the county government. Yes, we've seen the county government follow up closely on those medical facilities, especially clinics, disposing medical waste improperly. And that, of course, this is what we've done as the media, and we've seen that reduced to a great length.